Hi, good evening, everyone. I'm doing this video tonight to share two critical lessons that I've come to learn recently, and I learned them the hard way by screwing it up. And so I'm going to be a little bit vulnerable here and share with you a couple of mistakes I've been making in my business and what I've done to fix it. And I want to express some appreciation to my friend Tiffany for helping me realize it. So the two lessons I've learned is, number one, you got to take people as you find them, and I have to adapt to people as they are, and I can't have a one-size-fits-all approach. That's something I did wrong, and that's something I've learned early on. I'm so glad I learned that early on, and I'm fixing that. Then the other thing is I can't erect a wall around myself, and because that hurts the interview, and that's something that I learned from my good friend Tiffany. And so I've cured that problem. So I'm going to get into a little detail now and explain to you the problems the problems I had and what I've done to cure them and how the interviews have gotten so much better as a result. So the first one is take people as you find them and adapt. Hey Wade, good to see you, bud. Glad you're watching. So when I interviewed Tiffany, my paradigm before was I'm doing life story interviews. And so I would talk about your childhood, and then you go backwards, your parents and your grandparents, and then I go forward through your life history. And, you know, for certain clients, that's exactly what they want. But what I need to do is I need to ask people, what do they want from the interview? What are they seeking to get from the interview? Hey there, Wade. And that's something I failed to do. So when I interviewed Tiffany, she had a different agenda. She had a different objective in mind. And I went in there interviewing her just like I would an 80-year-old man. You know, I went linear through her life, and she wasn't looking for that. And so I came to realize that because I really wasn't happy with the video that I created for her, because I felt like I didn't really truly express her and what she wanted to accomplish. And so I had to do some introspection here, and I'm so glad I caught this early in the process for me. So I've been doing videos of business owners lately, where I sit down with business owners and we talk about their projects and their passion. So I help the business owners show their true selves to their potential customers. And in that, I'm not going in there asking about their grandparents. I'm not asking about their childhood. I'm asking them about their business, because that's our objective. And then I'm surgical, and I get in there and I accomplish a purpose. That's what we're doing, and then I'm done. I interviewed Dave Daly a week ago, and you know, I went in there. I'm not asking Dave about his childhood. I'm not asking Dave about his grandparents. I'm asking Dave about his work projects. That's what fires him up. So that's what I was asking him about. I adapted to him. And then yesterday I interviewed a 67-year-old man with 10 grandkids, and so with him I took an approach where I went through his whole life story. I went through his past, his whole life story, because his objective was to preserve his story for his kids and grandkids, and that's what I gave him. So the lesson I learned here is I need to adapt to each of my clients as I find them. I need to ascertain their objective, why they're hiring me, why they're using me to record their story, and then give them what they want. So that's something I've learned. And there's a circumstance where I learned that the hard way, and that's okay because I'm better for it. And then the other lesson is don't erect a wall. This is what I learned directly from Tiffany. So when I was interviewing Tiffany, my mindset coming into that, and a few interviews I did before as well, was this isn't about me. I need to downplay myself. It's about you, the client. I'm just here to elicit your story and ask questions of you. And there are a lot of times during Tiffany's interview and in other interviews I'd done where I saw situations where I wanted to interject and engage and share my own little quips and oh, me too, and just talk with the person like a normal person, have a conversation. And I squelched that, I squashed it, and I think it hurt my interviews as a process. So when I had a feedback from Tiffany, and she was telling me that at times where I really wasn't being myself, and she felt like she was being interrogated by a lawyer. You know, that's not what I'm trying to do here. So the fact that she told me that, I appreciate that so much, because that's not what I'm trying to do. And so she told me, she's like, no, just be yourself, engage, jump in. And because she said that when you were engaging and you were just talking to me, she said she felt more comfortable and she felt more connected with me and she felt more open. So that was her feedback to me. So as a lawyer, it's really hard to accept that kind of feedback, that critical feedback, and get my ego out of the way and not be defensive and just let it sink in. So I let it sink in for a little bit. And when I went to interview Dave last week, I had a totally different approach where, okay, my mindset was like, okay, I'm just going to engage with Dave and have a conversation, not an interrogation. So I parachuted in and we were mixing it up. And I was offering my perspectives on what he was saying. We were trading stories, and it was really cool content. We both had a lot more fun. He was really open, and I think we made better content as a result. Now, yesterday, when I interviewed another client, the grandfather, I took a risk and I tried it with him too. And you know what? It was awesome. So when I'm interviewing him, he would offer something, and we have such vastly different backgrounds, but he would offer something about his life. And before, when I may have like zipped my mouth because I don't want to get in the way, what I did was I just dove in. I said, you know what? Hey, me too. And I would just like compare and contrast our situations. He was talking about how he was in the Navy and he was on a destroyer. And I said, hey, my dad was on a destroyer. And so that really built a bridge between us. I could see it happening in real time. And I could see he felt connected with me. And because he felt connected with me and because he liked me more, he shared more. And so he really opened up. And so the interview was awesome. And so rather than erecting a wall around myself, I just was myself. And we engaged. We had a conversation, not an interrogation. He was happy. He really enjoyed it. And his wife was back there eavesdropping. She loved it. So now that feedback didn't come from me internally. That feedback came from Tiffany after I interrogated her. So I'm being very vulnerable here by saying like, yeah, I think I kind of screwed that up. And so I really appreciate that she cared enough to give me honest feedback. And, I'm glad that I was open to receive that feedback and learn from that and grow from it. And as a result, the last 2 interviews I've done, I think were really, really cool. So that's what I'm sharing, that I'm going to adapt to every single client as I find them, and I'm not going to treat any 2 people the same way. I'm going to ascertain what they want to get from the interview, and then I'm going to give it to them. And then the other thing is not erect a wall. I'm going to engage with people, and it's going to open up the lines, and then I think that's going to make them feel more open to sharing, because that's what this is all about. If they're not open to sharing, if they're feeling closed off, the whole thing's a waste of time. So that's what I have to share, and if there's any moral of the story here, it's just that if you're in business or anywhere in life, you need to be open to receiving critical feedback. You need to be open to growing and improving, because if you're not improving, you are declining. That's all I got to share, everybody. Thank you so much for watching.